Party. We are all so excited to see. Thank you. I have a lot of county chair friends here as well. The Golden Crescent and the Crossroads area, we're just a great team of county chairs and Democratic women groups that have all worked together, and we go to each other's events and we communicate and we teach each other and we learn from each other. So if you're a county chair from one of the other counties, please stand up and wave your hands madly. I see, there it is. Awesome, thank you. As a matter of housekeeping, Victoria County Democratic Party does not endorse any one Democratic candidate over another in a primary race. Of course, we all have our personal thoughts and opinions, but the point of today's gathering is for you, the voters, to get to meet with multiple candidates in multiple races so that you can make your own decisions about who you feel most represents what you want in leadership. Voting in the Democratic primary is important. Voting in every race on the ballot is important. Those statewide races are so important, but also the district races, the local races, our county races, and we even have a school board candidate.
I got this.
Every single elected official affects your life, from the roads you drive on, to the quality of the drinking water you drink, to the groceries you buy, to the taxes you pay. So, as our election office website says, your vote is your voice, be heard. Before we move on, I'd like to thank the amazing owners of the historic Club Westerner, the Village Brinker family, for allowing us to use this lovingly restored venue. If you check out their website, you will learn a bit more about the family and the history. There is also a cash bar in the back, so if you have a little cash and you get a little thirsty, there's somebody back there waiting to help you out. Second, I'd like to thank my husband for setting up this sound system with only a small amount of karaoke involved. And our precinct chairs, our officers, and all of the many volunteers who have worked so hard to make this event happen. The Victoria County Democratic Party is all about voter education for everyone, and that's why this event is free to voters throughout the Golden Crescent. However, there are QR codes on the posters at the back of the room and on tables so that guests can make one-time or recurring donations to support the mission of the Victoria County Democratic Party and/or the Texas Democratic Party, both if you can. Our mission is simple: to turn Texas from a non-voting state to a blue state. I know that when everybody came in, they got a blue dot to show that they were registered, but I want to tell you that I have a little problem with the blue dot. Because when people think they're a blue dot in a red sea, they're not really excited about voting. They think they're the only. And I have learned in all my conversations, whether I'm at the grocery store or getting a delivery or meeting somebody on Facebook Marketplace to pick up some random purchase, every time I open my mouth about the Democratic Party, I find that I am speaking to another Democrat. And so it just goes to show that we are not blue dots. We are a blue sea, and we just need to activate that blue tidal wave in Texas. One last thing. When everyone has finished speaking, the candidates will go back to their tables for individual conversations with all of you, and the event will last until 8:30. While you're visiting with the candidates, we will have volunteers in the crowd with clipboards. And if you would like to help Victoria County Democratic Party block off, phone bank, or write postcards, or if you're bilingual and you can help with some interpretation, find somebody with a clipboard and sign up, because it's going to take all of us working together to reach people who have felt like their vote has not mattered. And so now, without further ado, I present our first speakers at the top of your sample ballot. For United States Representative District 27, the first candidate, I did say I'm going in voter order. So our first candidate is Tanya Lloyd, and she will be followed by Castro-Mendoza.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so honored to be here. My name is Tanya Lloyd, and I am running for U.S. House of Representatives, District 27. Some of you may remember my name. This is my second run for this district. I ran in this district in the 24 cycle. I am running on a platform of affordability and healthcare issues. So I work in my classroom every day. I am a kindergarten teacher. I've been teaching in a Title I district for the last 20 years. And I see every day families that are struggling. They are struggling to keep food on the table, a roof over their heads, and they're struggling with health care and the cost of health care. So when I saw that our current congressman 2 years ago was going to run unopposed, there was not going to be a Democrat on the ballot, I decided I needed to step up. This is my home. I don't live in Victoria, Texas, but I live in District 27. I've lived in it over 4 decades. So 40 plus years of my life I've spent meeting people, helping people, talking to people in this district, because that's what I do every day. The last 2 years, though, has been a concentrated effort. I've been over 55,000 miles on my car in the last 2.5 years, traveling this district. It was originally 14 counties, and now it's 17 counties. But that has helped me to get to know all of you. It has helped me to get to know the true needs of this district. And affordability is a huge one. And I want to tell you just a minute about the depth and the breadth of my support in this campaign. I have been endorsed by a number of different organizations. The first was the AFL-CIO Code in Austin. That means union workers are behind me. I've been endorsed by young people at the University of Texas, at Texas State University, 2 different Young Democrats clubs out of Austin and Hays County. So I have a lot of people that believe in what I'm doing and want to see me go to Washington because I have a vision. I understand what they're going through as everyday people. I understand when young people talk to me about student loans, because my daughter has student loans, right? And so they understand that I really, truly want to help. And that's why I'm running for this seat. And I understand when I go to Washington in November, it's not going to be easy. I get that. But I am used to having hard conversations, because that's what I do in my classroom all the time. Not just with students, but with parents when they come in for parent-teacher conferences. We have to talk about tough things. We don't always agree on things, but we have to have those hard conversations. And we need somebody that's going to go to Washington and say, we need to sit down at the table and we need to talk. We may not agree, but we need to sit down and we need to talk. I think I only had 3 minutes. I probably have gone over. Oh, I've gone over? You said 5? 5? Anyway, I'm not going to take the whole time. I will tell you, I have a table back in the back. I have all kinds of fun stuff. My daughter calls it my treasure box, my politically active treasure box, because teachers have treasure boxes, right? So come back and see me, ask me any questions. I am an open book. Whatever you want to know, I will absolutely tell you. So I'm going to hand it back over to Jules so we can get moving. Again, Tanya Lloyd, U.S. House of Representatives, District 27.
Castro-Mendoza, who is also in the United States Representative District 27 race.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing us to present our case to you. This is probably the most existentially important election in our lifetime, and I really believe that. And I think tonight you probably have a good set of candidates, a great set of candidates to carry our party forward. Having said all that, I'm Castro-Mendoza, and I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives, District 27. And here's why. I'm running in this race because of all that I've seen as I walk through the crowds and the people that I meet on the street, in the stores, and wherever they may be. And what they tell me is they're hurting. They're hurting. They are hurting. And I'm talking about the young woman that I met at a Walmart in Corpus Christi a few weeks ago. She had a little boy, 7 years old. And she told me, I asked her, I said, can I ask you a question? She said, yes. I said, what's important to you right now? How do you feel about what's going on? And she said, well, I can't afford to pay both my mortgage and the rest of my living expenses. And I hear that a lot. I met a young man, again, down south in Port Lavaca. He was working at his job. And I asked him if I could ask a question, and he said yes. And we had a great conversation. He was looking for a meaningful job because he didn't have the job he wanted. Brilliant, beyond brilliant. He still calls me, and we still have conversations because we were going to have lunch together, and we have not had that lunch yet, but I will have it. So I am running to bring the working classes back to this country to restore the American dream, because I believe in that American dream, because I think that I have achieved it. I am a U.S. Navy veteran, 30-year Navy captain, a proud immigrant son of this great state of Texas. And I'm very proud of that. I am also, thank you, I am also a almost decade-long high school science teacher. Guess what? I could have chosen to make hundreds of thousands of dollars as a contractor, and I said no, because I want to give back. I want to give back to the people. I want to ensure that they have a future that they can earn. And that dream is going away, people, and that's why I'm running. And here's the other thing about this race. This race is about the person that you can send to Washington and do the job for you on day one. And I think I'm that person, and here's why. If you think leadership matters, I spent 30 years leading sailors, Marines, Air Force people, everybody on deployments in wartime. Let me tell you what happened the last deployment. My last deployment was right after 9/11. We deployed on September 19th of 2001 and spent the next 7 months dropping bombs over Afghanistan. And my job was to lead the intelligence effort of 109 ships from 40 different countries, and that included 4 U.S. aircraft carriers on which we were embarked in USS Theodore Roosevelt. I believe I have the experience, the leadership it takes to make a difference in Washington. How do I know that? I've been there and I've done that. I have briefed on the Hill. I have briefed heads of state in South America and in Europe. I've done all that. And I guarantee you that when I go to Washington, I'll be effective on day one on a number of committees. You put me on the agriculture committee because I'm a farmer rancher, I can be effective there. You put me on the armed forces committee, I can be effective there. The intelligence community, any of those committees, I will take care of business. And I will not yield to any Washington insiders, because what we need to do is restore the American dream and bring billionaires to account. Thank you. I'm Scott Castro-Mendoza, and I'm going to the District Court.
All right, thank you, candidates. So, our next race is governor. I bet you all know what the governor does, and we are very fortunate to have Mr. Bobby Cole here with us.
Thanks, Joel. It's great to be here in Victoria County and to be amongst people who care as much about Texas as the candidates do. Everybody does. I'm Bobby Cole, and I'm running for governor. I'm not a politician, but I come at this from a public service background. I was a firefighter for over 20 years and retired as a fire lieutenant from the city of Plano, Texas. And I'm also from Quitman, Texas, where I'm a captain and a lifelong farmer. I come from the working backbone of this state. My grandparents were blue-collar, working class, and union. They left East Texas during the Great Depression to seek jobs on the Texas coast. My grandfathers ended up getting jobs in the refinery, and they retired as union men with benefits. My mother worked a full-time job while she put herself through nursing school at night and on the weekends, and my dad made a living with his hands in his back as a lead operator in the gas plant. He was a union man and retired with benefits. These people were great examples of how lived values and principles can put steel in their spine and grit in their gut. They were, as I said, working class, and they instilled character and values in me that resonate here today. You can't see them. My grandparents and my mother's passed, my dad lives with me, but when I speak, you hear the integrity and the character that they put in me, and I think that's important. I've lived a working class life. I've struggled. I've had to hustle to make a living. I've always had to have more than one job. Always had at least two, sometimes 3 and 4. Those jobs have included digging post holes and ditches in the hard Texas clay. I've been knee deep in crude oil and cow shit. I fought off frostbite while constructing a compressor station on the prairie outside of Paris, Texas on Christmas Eve. I've also been up at 1 o'clock in the morning to milk cows so I can then get in the truck and drive over 100 miles to report for duty at the fire station. And I've also endured countless 100-degree days in over 40 years of farming. The values my grandparents and my parents put into me and my working class struggles is what informs this campaign. The campaign is about trusting women instead of trying to control them. It's about investing in our public schools, our teachers, and our children instead of shortchanging them. It's about LGBT Texans being seen and not erased. It's also about immigrants being treated with dignity and decency and due process and not hunted. It's about being able to afford to live your life in this state, and it's getting harder and harder every day. It's also about, if you get sick in this state, that you can get well without going bankrupt. It's also about fair wages. $7.25 an hour is a joke that's not funny. I advocate for $15 an hour minimum wage, indexed to inflation right away. Economic justice, we have to support workers' rights to organize. I will support unions. They're vital to the survival of the middle class and the working class, the working poor getting into the middle class. I believe the Democratic Party needs to return to its working man and woman roots. That's when the party was at its zenith. What once was can be again. People are realizing that this Republican governance has lied to them and abandoned them and taken them for granted. The Democratic Party is not alone in this. A lot of workers in this state, rural Texans, have been forgotten by the Democratic Party. We're going to get another chance. And when they come back to us, and they're going to come back, we cannot fail them. We've got to come through for the people who really built the state. It's not the billionaires and the big corporations, and I'll prove it to you. They don't pay living wages, and they don't want to pay taxes. So you tell me who built this state and who pays the bills. It's us. And we are not waste, fraud, and abuse. Let me tell you, we're the people, the righteous people of this state that earn everything we've gotten. And we're not asking for sweetheart deals and tax abatements. All we want is a fair shake and a fair shot. I'm Bobby Collins. I'm running for governor. You can go to pollforgovernor.com to learn more. And thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Our next race is for Lieutenant Governor, and we have Vicki Goodwin here. Slippery floor, you gotta be careful.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Victoria County Democrats. How are y'all? All right. I'm Vicki Goodwin. I'm a state representative from the Austin area, and I am ready to be your next Texas Lieutenant Governor. Is it time for change? Absolutely, it's past time for change. So I ran for the first time in 2018. I ran because Trump won and I was in shock. I ran for the Texas legislature because my mom had been on the Dallas School Board when I was a young adult. And she said it's not the school board that decides how much money our schools get. It's the Texas legislature, and they are underfunding our schools. That was in 1985, and the same thing is still true today. In 2018, there were 12 of us, including myself, who flipped seats from Republican to Democrat. And that made all the difference in the world when we came back in the next session. This time around, in 2026, if we flip 14 Texas House seats, we will have a majority in the Texas House. So, I've been in the House for 4 terms. I am now running for Lieutenant Governor because our current governor and Lieutenant Governor are taking us in the wrong direction. My passion is public education. When I am Lieutenant Governor, I will not pass a budget that has even $1 going to private school voucher scams. I'm on appropriations, and this session we underspent what we could have spent by $4 billion. That's money that could have gone to our public schools, to health care, to flood warning systems in Kerr County, to so many things. We are conservative to a fault here in Texas. So my second big issue is health care. Women should have the right to make their own personal, private health care decisions. Something that I'm looking forward to, besides March 3rd and the primary being over, is March 10th. My daughter-in-law is having a baby. Very exciting times. They live in Pennsylvania. I'm kind of glad that they're not in Texas while she's pregnant. Is that not a sad state of affairs for our state? We need to make it safe to be pregnant in Texas again. But not only that, we are a prosperous state, and yet we have the highest rate of uninsured. We have the highest rate of maternal mortality. That is not what we should be known for. I am also on the insurance committee this session, and the Republicans' big idea on how to bring down the cost of health insurance was to remove the requirement to cover rehabilitative care if you have a head injury or a stroke. Horrible idea. Thankfully, the doctors came to the Capitol and they killed that bill. But the Republican author, the chair of the committee, said he will bring it back next session. What we need to do is we need to make sure people have the ability to go see a primary care doctor and get their health taken care of early. Preventive care is less expensive than waiting until someone ends up in the emergency room. Yes, I agree to expanding Medicaid, but doctors have come to the Capitol and they've talked about the issues. We went from a 3-page application to a 21-page application. We make it difficult for people to apply and get the benefits. Also, doctors often don't get paid for months on end. Sometimes the money gets clawed back, and the reimbursement rate doesn't cover the cost of care. I think we need a Texas plan. A Texas plan that covers people who aren't covered by employers' health care, so that they can go see a primary care doctor. And we need to make sure that in rural areas we have those primary care doctors available. When I'm Lieutenant Governor, I commit to solving these healthcare problems. Number 3 is housing affordability. My background is as a residential real estate broker. I want people to be able to realize the American dream of owning their own home if they want to. This session I had 2 bills, one that would put downward pressure on rent prices, the other that would expand an already existing program called Texas Homes for Heroes. It provides low interest rate loans and down payment assistance for our first responders and our teachers. Unfortunately, the Republicans didn't pass that. Instead, they passed a sales tax exemption on exotic game. So they are not solving the problems of the day. Finally, water. Water is a huge issue for the state. These data centers use a lot of water. A lot of companies use a lot of water. They should have to pay for the infrastructure needed to bring them the water, not us as homeowners. When I am Lieutenant Governor, we're going to put an emphasis on these 4 priorities. I am Vicki Goodwin. My goal is to can Dan to send Patrick packing because we need a good win for Texas. Thank you. Vicki Goodwin.
Where we had Aaron, where's Aaron? Aaron Lurie. He is here for Nathan Johnson. When we did all of these emails, there were several candidates who were already booked out, but they were gracious enough to send us a representative. And I know Aaron from working with the Democratic Party.
Thanks so much, Joel. Hi everybody, how's everyone doing? So just to be clear, my name is Aaron Lurie, and I am not running for Attorney General. I am representing Senator Nathan Johnson from Dallas, who is running for Texas Attorney General. I'm so grateful to be here today. I just drove here from Austin. I know firsthand from working with Chairwoman and Joel just how hard y'all work here in Victoria and the surrounding counties. It is because of y'all on the doors and on the phones and in here in this room that we have a chance to actually elect Democrats statewide. So it's great to meet all of y'all. Thanks for being here. I'm here today to tell you why Nathan Johnson should be central to all of our efforts going forward. The last time many of us in Texas felt this optimistic, for me, it was in 2018. That was the year that Beto was at the top of the ticket and dozens of Democrats flipped longtime seats like Rep. Goodwin here. One of those Democrats was Nathan. Up against one of the most well-funded, entrenched Republicans, Don Huffines. You've seen his billboards around here running for Comptroller in one of the most bigoted ways I've ever seen. Not only did Nathan win that election, he beat Don Huffines by 8 points. But that was just the beginning. Once in office, I personally started to pay attention to Nathan Johnson a little bit more closely after watching him lead the fight to expand Medicaid here in Texas. Unfortunately, that didn't pass Dan Patrick's Senate. It's time for a new lieutenant governor, that's for sure. But he didn't give up. Him and his team stayed up late nights, talking to experts, studying the policy books, until they found a loophole. They were able to pass legislation that expanded access to affordable health care for over 350,000 low-income citizens. And ever since I've been watching Nathan Johnson, he didn't start there. He's been out in the front of abortion rights, voting rights, equity, and equality. He's fought tooth and nail against illegal gerrymandering and fought against vouchers every single time that they've come up. I'm a young Democrat, I work for the party, but I couldn't be prouder to be fighting here for Nathan Johnson to be the next Attorney General. He's running because right now, it could not be more important to have Democratic Attorneys General in this country. Unlike any other office, it's been the Democratic AGs, the 25 of them, that have fought against Trump's actions and have actually been able to stop him. Just last weekend, with the tariffs, going all the way to the Supreme Court, one of the biggest blows to Trump's presidency up until this point. It was Democratic Attorneys General that brought that to the Supreme Court. Texas should have been joining them. I know we want to be there. We should send someone who can. But not only did Nathan win, and I really think we could all use a win, he can deliver when he's in office. In the Republican super majority in the Senate, he's passed over 135 bills, including one that provided $2 billion to make sure the grid is stable, so the tragedies that happened with Winter Storm Uri in 2021 never happen again. This office has been misused, debased, corrupted. We all know that in Paxton, you can come up with a million negative words. But it can be as powerfully good as it has been powerfully bad. Nathan's running to take an executive office with a $4 billion budget and use it to root out corruption, not be the corruption. To force corporations to play by fair rules that actually bring down prices and enforce competition, antitrust law, and to defend the individual rights of everyone who lives in this state. This election is a tremendous opportunity. I know we can all feel it. Let's put the best candidate forward. I hope you can join me in supporting Clayton Johnson because he's the only candidate in the race who knows how to beat Republicans, who knows how to deliver when he's in office, and who's dedicated to running a campaign that lifts up Democrats all across, up and down the ballot. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, all right, and now we have Jaworski, also running in this race, running up the stage.
Thank you so much, Jewel. Hey, Victoria, how are y'all doing? All right. I'm Joe Jaworski. I'm a third-generation Texas lawyer, a former mayor of Galveston, Texas. And I'm the proud grandson of a Texas Democrat who prosecuted World War II Nazis and the President of the United States. Well, that's right. You put those two things together, prosecute Nazis and the President of the United States, what's old is new again. I hate to say it, but seriously, I am so proud of my grandfather, Leon Jaworski, who in the post-World War II European theater was the lead prosecutor at Auschwitz, Dachau, Hadamar, the Russelheim Death March. And then decades later, he was called on to serve his country as the second Watergate special prosecutor. He brought the Nixon administration, corrupt as it was, to account, and his legacy hereafter has been no man is above the law, not even the president. Now, Victoria, I tell you this because Leon Jaworski's blood is my blood. And so please hear me and believe me when I say, I am ready, I am unafraid, and Victoria, I am running to be your Texas Attorney General. I'm running because justice should never be for sale in Texas. And in Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick's, and Ken Paxton's Texas, justice is for sale. But unlike that scoundrel who occupies the office of Attorney General, Ken Paxton, when I take the oath of office with your blessing, Victoria County, I will lead with integrity, not indictments. I will fight the bullies on your behalf. I will push back against the extreme Trump MAGA agenda. Now, Victoria County, I'm going to tell you, this race, and I mean the primary as well as the general, is about a lot more than laws and courtrooms and books. It's about the heart and soul of who we are as Texans and who we are as Democrats. And I have spent my adult life in battles that require heart and soul. When I was mayor of Galveston, elected after Hurricane Ike, I fought bullies and racists to deliver first-class community public housing. Because Victoria County, when the mayor issues a mandatory evacuation order, and when the coast is clear after a 100-year storm, and you want to come back to collect your belongings and see what's left, it doesn't matter whether you're Tillman Fertitta or someone who helped Tillman make his billion, you deserve to come home. It doesn't matter your station in life. It doesn't matter your income level. And so I fought the racists because mixed income housing was what was on order. And I took a page out of another great Texas Democrats book, Henry Cisneros, the former mayor of San Antonio and HUD secretary under Bill Clinton, who was the godfather of mixed income housing. It cost me re-election, but I stood 10 toes down and I fought him because it was the right thing to do, not because it was easy. You know, everything's on the line, and so what you need is someone who has exhibited courage in office to be your next Attorney General. I mean, who is Texas for anyway? Who do our elected officials work for? And who among us gets to live a good life? And by that I mean, you can afford the American dream. You can afford a home that you can live in and sleep in, wake up refreshed, take your children to a good public school, confident that they'll survive the day's classes. And who among us gets to have a good job? And who among us gets to speak, and speak freely? And who among us gets to vote and have our vote counted? I'm telling you, Victoria County, it's all on the line. And we know who we have to blame for it, because Abbott, Patrick, and Paxton sold us out to Donald Trump because they're afraid, and they have no courage. They're afraid of being denounced on Trump's Truth Social. It's time to throw that regime out. Democrats are the courageous ones. Democrats are the ones connected to the people. Democrats will serve and lead again. Hey, Jewel, as my time concludes, I want to acknowledge something. I know the road ahead won't be an easy one. Doesn't matter. It's our road to walk together, Jewel. And so, Victoria County, let's go out there and let's tell them how it is. Let's tell them what real Democratic leadership looks like. It looks like this. I'll never lie to you. I can't be bought. In Victoria County, I have your back. Joe Jaworski, Texas Attorney General. Ask them for your vote.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Joe. All right, we're going to do a little schedule change up because Savant is not here yet. Savant is running for Comptroller of our public accounts. He is actually a teacher in Houston, Texas, and he's driving here after school. So he is not quite here yet, so we're going to move on and we'll revisit that. So we're going to move to the Commissioner of General Land Office. We have two candidates, and one of them is here with us today. It's Benjamin Flores.
I feel like calm down. Buenas noches, Victoria. How's everybody doing? Second week of early voting. Who's excited about it? Before I get into my spiel, I want to say, first of all, thank you for being here. I've been running around the state for the last year as a candidate, and got to meet a lot of y'all. And I just want to say it's you, the ones that made candidates like us possible to be on here. So thank you for that. A couple of weeks ago, before we started with early voting, I said that we were going to be fighting like hell, and I started using an analogy that went along something like this: that we were the third monkey on the ramp to Noah's Ark, and it just started raining. Because the times were pretty dark, and still are, they're not any better, right? But looking at early voting, you guys were showing up. Now, I'm not saying that, and I want somebody to say, oh, that's good, I don't need to be there, they're all good. Oh, hell no. If we're up by 5, that means we can be up by 7. We can be up by 10. This is our time to show everybody else in the country what Texans can do when they come together. Not only Texans, but Texas Democrats. So, if you already voted, I need you to make a commitment to reach those folks that haven't, and tell them this is that time. That there's no, oh, I'll wait for the general, there's no waiting. You guys heard the news, I'm not here, I'm not, it's not Halloween, I'm not gonna, scare you. The mentioned Don is planning things. We need to do this. So who's with me? Who's gonna call people who haven't show up to vote? We get early voting. Thank you. All right, now, keep me honest with my time, wait, and all that, okay? I'm okay with that. Councilman Benjamin Flores, I'm running to be your next Texas Land Commissioner. Now, that is a little big office that most Texans don't know about, yet it has a big impact in your life. It's the first office in the state that its sole purpose was to make money for public schools. Simple. Right? That's it. It's in the Texas Constitution. But they buried it so far away that we forget about that. Now, as your next Texas Land Commissioner, I will diversify the sources of revenue, meaning I'll find other folks that responsibly develop our lands. Sorry, I can't move it. That responsibly develop our lands to make more money available for schools, for teacher salaries, for materials for our students as well. That will make more electricity available in the state. And lastly, in a small measure, it will help with your property taxes. Next, it takes care of veterans in the state. Right now, it offers home loans, land purchases, renovation. But it also has assisted living facilities. I'm proposing to build the 10th facility in the coastal bed, right here, not too far in Corpus. Lastly, while I don't have the mandate, I will advocate for a VA hospital to be built for our veterans in the valley. Right now, they have to travel 5 to 6 hours to San Antonio, and that's a tragedy. Thank you. Now, this is not my usual sexy voice. I just went through a spell of bronchitis, and this is the better version. And the last thing, who remembers Harvey? Hurricane Harvey. All right, good. So we are neighbors, believe it or not. I'm just in Bay City. You are my shortest campaign stop ever. And we went through Barrow about a year and a half ago. It's the land commissioner's job to help those communities, be whole after a disaster. Every time you hear FEMA say, hey, we're giving dollars to the state, it's the land commissioner that decides to do that. Now, as the next Texas land commissioner, my formula is very simple. We'll help out those folks that need it the most first right away. I'll leave you with the thought of this. From Harvey, West Texas has seen Harvey dollars. See, the city of Houston or Harris County have seen $0 to this date. You will see when the money gets to the state. I'll have a public dashboard. You'll see when the money goes out. We're not sitting in the money. Who am I? Briefly, I'm in my third year as a city councilman in the city of Bay City. I have almost 30 years of risk management, cybersecurity, governance and compliance experience, and yes, I do raise pigs. I'm very invested in the future of the food sources, but also the future of the state. Yeah. Point. There you go. You can find more about me in let's go to bembo.com or in español, vamos con bembo.com. I would love to chat with you. We have 1 week to go. Let's show up in force. Muchas gracias.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Clayton. All right, and you mentioned food, and our next visitor come up to the stage is running for Commissioner of Agriculture. And you can't get any closer to food than agriculture. So, Clayton Tucker, I'm so glad to see you.
So thank y'all so much for being here. My name is Clayton Tucker, and I'm running against one of the biggest bootlickers down in Austin, Sid Miller. You know it's bad when even Greg Abbott calls you corrupt, right? So before I really get going, I kind of want to get to know y'all a little bit as well. Do we have anyone here who is in agriculture? You farm, you ranch? What do you farm or ranch? Ranch? Wheatland? Other folks? Back there, yes. Ranch? Cattle? Cattle? So I come from Lampasas, where we have a family farm. We raise cattle and goats. If anyone doesn't know where Lampasas is, if you can find the center of Texas, you can find Lampasas. We're equally far from everywhere else. Does anyone here is in education? You teach, administrate? What do you teach? Ooh, nice. Other folks? Yes? Math science. What grades? All. Hey, there we go. All. Other folks who are teachers? Very nice. So in my pre-political life, I was a kindergarten teacher with 15 boys, 5 girls, pure mayhem. Turns out also great training for politics. I walked into a classroom one day, got a kid vomiting there, another one peeing in the corner, and welcome to the Texas government. Lastly, we'll see if anyone actually raises their hands on this one. This is always the toughest one, y'all. Does anyone here like to eat food? Hey, then you are involved in agriculture. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about this race, but first I'm going to give you a little bit of good news. I'm the only Democrat in this race, so that will make this choice a lot easier for a lot of folks. The Ag Commissioner is really about 3 things fundamentally. There's a lot more. You can go to my website to learn more. But it's basically about food, land, and water. Let's talk about food. Food is too expensive, but it is not the farmers making the money. I can guarantee you that. It is not the farmers who have been making the money. It is the corporate monopolies, those middlemen that have been price gouging the whole system. You go to the grocery store, you might see 5 different brands of chicken. I guarantee you it's all Tyson. You go buy beef, it has a big American flag on it, probably not American. Probably from Brazil, probably processed by JBS. Because they have fully rigged the system. They rigged it to price gouge farmers, but also to price gouge you. Good example, it's 1970, my papa was a cattleman. Holly here would say 1970, she goes buys $1 worth of beef. From that $1 worth of beef, my papa, as the cattleman, in 1970 would have gotten around 60 cents. I, this day, from that $1, get around 20. Maybe 30 on a good day. I guarantee it's not the farmers making the money. And we are going to aggressively go after these monopolies. We're going to start breaking up big ag. We're going to go after these folks and really return to what the Democrats were fundamentally about. Because the Democratic Party was the monopoly busting party. And we're going to return that and go back to our history to fight those monopolies. Let's also talk about land real quick. Now, it's not quite land like Ben, I know you're here somewhere. You know, what Ben was talking about, but I want to talk about agricultural land. The average age of a farmer is 60 years old. What do you think is going to happen in 10 years? I'll tell you, Bill Gates and the billionaires will own even more of our farmland. We've lost 250,000 family farms since Reaganomics, since the whole trickle-down nonsense. 250,000 families off the farm. Right now, we are losing 70 a week in the state of Texas. I am 35. I'm the first candidate on either political party to be born statewide, to be born in the 90s. Try not to let that me. And we are going to be make sure that we can get farming affordable. Really make farming affordable where it is truly a middle-class way of life again for everyone. Lastly, water. Y'all, Texas is running out of water, and these big tech data centers are coming to mess with our water. You know, we are about, we have a 20-year water plan that's going to get cut down to about 5. You know, I was just reading, they're building one near Port Victoria. That's half the city of Austin. You're building half the city of Austin right down the road. The one in Abilene is Seattle. The one up in Amarillo is 16 San Franciscos. Y'all remember when President Biden was like, oh, let's electrify all vehicles, and the right was like, oh, we don't have the grid to do that. Y'all remember when they were saying that? 10 data centers uses more electricity than every car gone electric. Yep. These power prices are going to go very, very high. In some states, went up 200%, are going to run out of water. The ag commissioner can start stopping them. It's called ag impact studies. We're going to go after this. And I'm telling y'all, I just came from an event. This will be really quick. It's really funny. So I was actually at the state capitol. There was a rally going on, and this is my ending story. And I was there, sitting in line, sitting in the back, just waiting for my turn to talk. And this guy who was speaking before me, he said something that really caught my attention. He said, if us Republicans don't get serious about these data centers, Texas is turning blue. And I was like, us Republicans? Who the hell do you think I am? But then, speaker after speaker is like, if we don't do this, rural Texas is going to turn blue. This is like a populist rage. And then I come up with this, a shit-eating grin, as no low Democrat, apparently. And I was just talking to folks, and look, these data centers, I guarantee you, we can convert a lot of people on this. We can convert a lot of people on this. But we have to get aggressive. We have to fight back the way we used to fight, the way our party used to fight these oligarchs. You can learn more at claytontuckertx.com. I'll be over there.
Next up, we are going to go back in time because Savant Moore has arrived from teaching school. As a school teacher myself, I really appreciate the fact that you did a full day of school and came down here to talk to us, so thank you.
Good evening, Victoria County Democrats. Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Savant Moore. My name is Savant Moore, and I'm running to be your next Texas Comptroller. Before I ever stepped on a statewide stage, before I filed paperwork, before I started traveling the state corner to corner, I was a working class Democrat. and I want to share something personal with you. Before I started my trucking company, I got my CDL and I worked for a food company. And every week my first stop was Victoria, Texas. So I would deliver the food to the school, to the businesses, so I owe y'all because you took care of my family. And so when I go to Austin, I will never forget Victoria, Texas because it's a part of my story. I'm a veteran. I earned my Ranger tab as a PFC at 24 years old. I teach public school, 6th graders, English. I'm on the school board as a trustee, and I've been playing undercover boss. Like, from the school board, you look at everything from the macro. So I started teaching to see on the micro and see that we're just not getting the resources that we need in our great state. I run a $2.5 billion budget on the school board. I have a trucking company. If you drink Pure Life Ozarka, we put that water in those bottles. I'm running for comptroller because we're 50th in the nation for healthcare, 49th in the nation for quality of life, 42nd in the nation for public education. And I'm just not understanding. As a truck driver, I've driven all over this state, and I see two things. It's a beautiful place, but there's also a lot of neglect. And that neglect has been under Republican leadership for my entire lifetime. It's so imperative that you pick a Democrat that can beat the Republican. Now, it's going to be pretty easy for me. If somebody's running that bought a ranch from a pedophile, if somebody running that was considered one of the worst state senators on the Republican side, it's someone that we know that is tied in with oil and gas. So it's imperative that you pick someone that remembers your story and how important it is. Too often times, rural counties are forgotten when it comes to public education. I will overwatch the school voucher system, but we have to be honest. There's no private school for you to use that school voucher system, so we gotta properly fund public education. We have a rainy day fund with $28 billion. We can use $15 billion of that and properly fund public ed. We'll have $10 billion in a rainy day fund. It will take me about 4 years with conservative investments to get it back to $28 billion, but then that problem will be solved. Now the comptroller, you collect the state revenue, you certify the budget. So a lot of lawmakers are gonna make promises to you. I'm the person that keeps the promises through the money. I oversee state contracts. The current acting comptroller ended the Texas HUD program. That program for the last 20 years has only given 11% of state contracts to women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses. I find that to be a problem. Because when you get those contracts to those individuals, who's the first person that they hire? The person that looks like them. And so that money comes back into their community, which ultimately comes back to the state. I'll also be over broadband. I have a goal of within 2 miles of every school, there's free Wi-Fi in Texas. We have federal funds, why are we using them? When I go to Austin, I want to be your undercover boss. My whole life, before you ever knew me, I was serving you. I graduated high school at the age of 16. It was a year after 9/11. I joined the United States Army Reserve. Then I went to Howard. Unfortunately, my father passed away, so that's when I went active duty. I graduated Howard University at the age of 31. I built a business over 7 states. I came back here because my mother is older, want to be around me. Now I preach at my father's church. And so a lot of people on the other side claim to be Christians. But it just finds it funny to me that Monday through Saturday do whatever it takes for all individuals in this room not to have democracy. And so that must change. Because if you claim to be a Christian, you must be Christ-like. So regardless of your beliefs, your race, your sexual orientation, I will represent you in Austin. And so I thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad that I just left teaching 10, 11, 12-year-olds, telling them to please be quiet because I got a test this week to beat all you beautiful and great Democrats. And lastly, I end with this. I thought I was one of the coolest, toughest guys because I jumped out of airplanes, I played call people I've ever met is Democrats in counties like this. God bless you.
Alright, we're gonna take a tiny 2-minute break while our media team swaps batteries. And while we do that, I want to point out a couple of things that you may not have noticed. At the information table,